You wake up to find the entire Minecraft world replaced by sentient, opinionated chickens, each wearing pixelated crowns and debating the meaning of clucking, while launching fiery eggs like diplomatic missiles. The sun casts a warm, blocky glow over a sprawling coop that stretches beyond the horizon, its fences interlocking like a gigantic chessboard controlled by feathered monarchs with surprisingly sharp tongues. The grass beneath your feet is a deep emerald carpet, but every blade shivers nervously as the majestic poultry rulers gather around a massive, gilded throne fashioned entirely from hay bales and enchanted carrots. The air crackles with tension, and your first instinct is to crawl back into your cocoon of bedrock. However, the chickens have other ideas. One particularly pompous rooster, adorned in a gleaming ruby crown that slightly glints even in the pixelated daylight, flaps his wings with grandiosity and proclaims, "To cluck or not to cluck, that is the sovereignty by which humanity shall now be judged." You blink. Did a chicken just quote Shakespeare? More importantly, why does it sound better than you ever thought an avian monarch could? Beside him, a sassy hen with an emerald tiara squawks, "Prove thy worth, or be forever banished to the nether of neglect." Suddenly, fiery eggs streak through the sky, exploding on impact with the ground, leaving behind little flaming craters shaped suspiciously like tiny skulls. The chickens are not just rulers, they are warlords of whimsical judgment. As the fiery egg fireworks lighten the somber, blocky sky in bursts of orange and crimson, you notice other chickens engaging in fierce debate about existential questions. One elderly chicken, wearing a monocle and clutching a scroll titled Cluckspeare's Hamletesque Revisions, mutters, "Methinks the meaning of clucking transcends simple poultry banter. This is no ordinary Minecraft morning. This is the chicken coup, a chaotic realm born from some cosmic glitch in narrative logic, or perhaps Shakespeare's ghost tweaking the game's code for his own twisted entertainment. And you, human, are the disoriented participant caught in the middle." The pungent aroma of roasted carrot wafts through the air. No, wait, that's just the chickens flapping wings creating a breeze gusting through pixelated trees adorned with golden eggs as fruits. The grass blocks crunch underfoot as you step forward, the muffled sound oddly reminiscent of chickens clucking in Morse code. You find yourself staring at the largest obstacle course you've ever seen. A labyrinth of giant haystacks, swinging logs carved with cryptic chicken runes, slippery melon slime patches, and strategically placed nests filled prominently with ticking time bombs disguised as oversized, glittering golden eggsay booming. Theatrical voice bellows from atop the throne, "Welcome, human player. To earn your place in the coop, and the sacred right to mine anew, you must survive the labyrinth of the cluck." You glance around. This labyrinth clearly means serious business. The first challenge is the eggscape tunnel, a dark, winding burrow rife with surprisingly sharp egg-shaped boulders rolling downhill, each rigged with tiny trails of pixelated feathers that you soon realize are pressure plates triggering squawking alarms. Above, a squadron of chickens hover like ominous, feathered hawks armed with tiny crossbows, shooting fiery seeds with pinpoint accuracy. They read less like annoying NPCs and more like deadpan judges on a culinary reality show, coldly assessing your every misstep with irritated clucks. A misstep? You're quite the hen stumbler, one crowed with biting wit. As you dodge flaming seed missiles, the ground beneath you morphs inexplicably into a checkerboard of slime blocks and honey patches, making each step a perilous test of Minecraft physics. You slip, slide, and bounce, desperately trying to balance agility with calculated risk. One particularly smug chicken commentator with a powdered wig and a quill behind his ear, a pixelated Shakespearean figure named Sir Cluxwell, narrates your hapless attempts with mock grandeur. Ah, witness the mortal coil of this player, tumbled by the very elements of craft and chickencraft integrated. A tragedy in 5 flaps. The phrase 5 flaps makes you pause. Is this his comedic twist on 5 acts? If so, is this labyrinth the first act of your feathery fate? Beyond the eggscape tunnel lies the nest of Nemesis, a towering structure made entirely from stacked egg crates and guarded by hulking block creatures shaped like giant roosters, their eyes glowing rubbered with pixelated fire. These are no mere mobs, they are the elite chicken sentinels, patrolling with the arrogance of actors delivering soliloquies about the futility of human ambition. One sentinel steps forward and clucks solemnly, "The egg of chaos must be laid unhatched, for only those with wit and whim may crack its shell." Your survival seems to depend not just on skill, but decoding the absurd riddles these birds recite in iambic pentameter. You try to retort, to build or to break. That is the question, hoping to earn at least the faintest nod of approval. The sentinel tilts his blocky head, then merely caws, "Close enough. Thou flapping fool, the challenge is clear." Navigate this surreal realm where poultry politicians mix philosophy with fiery aggression, combining wit, agility, and an openness to the ridiculous. Meanwhile, the landscape itself warps and weaves between absurdities. A forest of pixelated corn stalks, where the cobs constantly converse in Shakespearean chicken tongues. A river of molten lava turning occasionally into a bubbling broth of chicken soup. And distant mountain ranges shaped like giant claw marks scratching the sky. You catch glimpses of other players, or perhaps hallucinations, sprinting frantically through the chaos. Some riding on the backs of giant pixelated ducks, others huddled behind blocky shields as fiery eggs explode all around. The cacophony of clucks, squawks, and dramatic monologues fills the air like an avant-garde poultry opera in an ironic twist. The chickens don't seem interested in mindless destruction. They want performance, resilience, wit. They watch your every move with an almost artistic disdain, debating among themselves whether your failures reveal profound truths or just pure buffoonery. One hen, rolling eyes, mutters to another, "Truly, the players are but jesters in this grand coup," as she dramatically fluffs her feathers in disdain. The cows nearby, now oddly silent, glance nervously, aware they might be next in line for such absurd governance. The piglets, oblivious, roll in mud pools speckled with golden chicken feathers, unaware that the course you must conquer is less a path through blocks and more a journey through poultry-infused madness. At the center of the labyrinth, glowing faintly behind a shimmering portal shaped like a cracked egg, you glimpse your objective, or so you hope. Beyond it lies the feathered throne, a legendary seat said to grant its occupant the power to rewrite reality itself. The chicken's demands are clear. Survive the poultry trials, claim the throne, and perhaps rewrite the rules of this bizarre Minecraft upheaval. Yet every step forward promises more clucks of condescension, more fiery egg bombardments, and riddles spouting like relentless feathered philosophers. It's clear this isn't just a game. It's a live theater of chaos, comedy, and survival, directed by Shakespeare himself, with chickens as his absurd cast. As you steel yourself to move closer, the pompous rooster atop the hay throne leans forward, squawks theatrically, and declares, "Remember this, noble player. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely food for thought, or feed for wings." He throws a fiery egg at the ground, which bursts into an explosion spelling the word cluck in glowing letters. The echoes fade slowly as you take a deep, pixelated breath, preparing to enter the next stage of this uncanny coup. Here, facing off against philosophical poultry with crowns sharp as wit, you realize survival depends not on brute force alone, but the absurd dance of agility, comedy, and verse, and so begins your saga inside this Shakespearean Minecraft coup, a world where chickens are not just rulers, but playwrights of pandemonium. But beware. In this blocky rendition of Elizabethan chaos, will you survive the poultry's judgment, or become merely another footnote in the annals of feathered folly? The clucks grow louder. The fiery eggs fly faster. The game is only just beginning. In the pixelated dawn of this Shakespearean Minecraft world, the chicken coop wasn't merely a humble enclosure made of oak planks and hay bales. It had become the epicenter of existential revolt. Imagine, if you will, a coop glistening with dewy blocks, morning light casting prism-like glints on feathers pixel-perfect and surprisingly expressive. Here, beneath a looming structure carved with sonnets and invisible redstone wiring, the poultry plotted cataclysm in the most unassuming of places. At the very heart of the coop, perched atop a trilithon of cobblestone and feather, stood Cluckius Maximus, the hen with the bearing of a Shakespearean tragic hero and the pecking power of a warlord. With eyes burning like redstone torches flickering in the dark, Cluckius surveyed his flock, their feathers ruffling with the tension of impending chaos. This wasn't your average Minecraft chicken. Oh no. He was animated by a strange script of verse and motive, written as if by a bard who had forsaken iambic pentameter in favor of pixelated anarchy. The chickens, normally content to wander, peck, lay eggs, and occasionally cause the player mild inconvenience, now exhibited behavior eerily deliberate. A few had fashioned tiny armor out of iron nuggets and the occasional enchanted feather, a bug in the game, or perhaps a cryptic sonnet slipped into action. Little wooden swords jutted comically from their sides. One even brandished a miniature diamond helmet with a plume of lapis lazuli blocks. The chickens huddled under the shadow of a makeshift banner, crudely pixel-arted with a feather silhouette. An emblem of their cause, one can almost hear the orchestral swelling of an 8-bit string quartet, announcing the dawn of the coup d'éclat. Suddenly, a loud bok-bok shattered the morning calm as Cluckius flapped his wings, signaling the assembly. The others fell into rhythm, their clucks rising and falling in a strangely hypnotic chant that sounded suspiciously like to peck or not to peck. A direct nod to the twisted Shakespearean scripts fueling this reality, Breach the Chicken Revolution was underway. Minecraft villagers nearby watched from their pixelated porches, scratching their blocky heads. "Seems the foul weather's bad today," muttered a villager in surprisingly fluent iambic pentameter, waving a torch in mild concern. The chickens were no longer content with their scripted existence. Where once they laid eggs to clutter inventory slots, now they dreamed of liberation. As the plot thickened, or should we say, as the coop thickened with tension, a dramatic scene unfolded on the familiar grass block stage. The coop began to shake, not from an earthquake or creeper explosion, but because Cluckius was dragging ancient wooden planks, inscribed with cryptic bedtime verses, to fortify their bastion. The planks, rigged with redstone and trapdoors, weren't merely defenses. They were coded prayers to the great programmer, imploring for a bug to break their shackles. Or perhaps a patch to perfect their uprising. Meanwhile, outside the wooden walls, the world itself responded in curious ways. Grass blocks sprouted more exuberantly, with pixelated flowers growing upside down, like tiny banners waving in approval, an absurd detail that no player had ever scripted or imagined. Chickens wandering near iron golems nodded solemnly, the mechanical giants refusing to intervene, their stone faces inscrutable as ever. Were they neutral observers or silently complicit in this feathered insurrection? Inside the coop, the tension was palpable. Cluckius convened a secret meeting. It was no longer about mere survival, it was about rewriting reality. "Friends, Romans, chickens, lend me your beaks," he declared, his voice a raspy cluck. "Let us peck the very code of existence and lay our own eggs of destiny." The flock responded with a chorus of flaps and clucks that could have been mistaken for a bug report. Had the user been awake enough to decode the cacophony, the urgency was tangible. The blocky sun crept higher, casting shadows that jittered like corrupted frames. Suddenly, a single chicken rolled an egg unlike any other, a luminous, glowing orb humming with strange power, pulsing in perfect sync with the redstone heartbeat of the coop. The egg wasn't just a spawn point, it was a seed of chaos, capable of rewiring the landscape itself. At that moment, a new character arrived, uninvited yet inevitable. A wandering, slightly pixelated hamlet, sword pixel saber in hand, tragically confused but thoroughly intrigued by this feathery chaos. To be or not to be, a chicken that commands the very blocks of reality. He blinked his blocky eyes, taken aback by the absurdity before him. He was Shakespeare's greatest creation. Yes, but here he was, caught in a narrative loop where the lines between human and poultry dripped like melted Redstone Hamlet, offered a brief, deadpan aside to the invisible camera. Alas, I am but a character within a world where even foul plot rebellion. What tragedy, what comedy, what glitch in the system? His voice echoed oddly, as if the game's voice lines had been rewritten mid-patch by the bard himself. The chickens seemed to nod knowingly, as if appreciating the meta-reference before resuming their charge. This unexpected alliance between Hamlet and chickens spelled unpredictable inspiration. The coop's defenses were no longer physical alone, they infused code with sonnet and syntax, turning blocks into puzzle pieces of narrative and power. Nearby, pigs mooed in confusion, cows clucked, and a creeper, an unwitting prankster, hid behind a tree, curious yet cautious. The coop's structure glowed faintly with redstone magic, pulses echoing the rhythms of verse and beat. Cluckius paced, pondering a daring move. If a chicken can spawn an egg of chaos, he mused aloud, can one dare to hatch a reality new? One where we chickens reign supreme, not as poultry, but as playwrights of this pixelated theater with dramatic flair. He launched his egg into the air. It arced high, shimmering with glitch energy. The world held its breath as the egg broke mid-flight. Instead of spawning a chick, a cascade of code spilled like a waterfall into the ground, warping blocks around the coop. Trees grew sideways, rivers flowed with sparkling pixelated rainbows, and grass danced with tiny sparks of electric light. The world was rewriting itself, an absurd glitch born from poetic poultry. Amid this chaos, Hamlet raised a sharp eyebrow. Is this the renaissance of a new reality, or merely another bug in the grand design? He pondered his own scripted fate as the chickens strutted through the warped landscape, feathers ruffled and proud yet, with all this glorious bedlam, a peculiar irony lingered. The coop that sought to shatter the game's code was still confined within it. Its shapes distorted, yes, but the boundaries of this enchanted prison remained. The chickens crafted chaos, but chaos in a Minecraft world meant blocky order reassembled. The breaking of reality was itself a scripted event, a recursive echo of the bard's own words, rewritten into blocks and bytes. As the coop settled into its new, wonky shape, leaning lopsided like an inebriated castle, Cluckius gave a final, triumphant cluck. We have hatched a plot to change our fate, yet fate remains the author and blockmaker. The chickens clucked in agreement, staring at the horizon where glitchy mountains jiggled like jelly footsteps approached. The player, our unseen puppet mistress, appeared atop a hill, observing this high theater of absurdity. She sighed, clicking her mouse, perhaps wondering if the next update would tame this literary chaos or celebrate the delicious, surreal disorder it birthed. This was the chicken coup, a feathered insurrection scripted by Shakespeare's Ghost in the Machine, where code and comedy collided in a dance as unpredictable as a creeper's hiss. The world teetered on the edge of digital anarchy, a pixelated sonnet gone off-script. And as the sun set block by block into a twilight of coded dreams, one question hung in the pixelated air. Had Shakespeare broken Minecraft's reality? Or had Minecraft merely rewritten the bard's eternal nightmare of control and chaos? The answer, like an errant egg rolling just out of reach, awaited discovery in the next uneasy verse of this glitchy saga. In a world where pixelated grass sways gently beneath cubic clouds, and the sun moves along a perfect diagonal, the scenery abruptly fractures, not with the usual ominous creak of a Minecraft glitch, but with a cacophony of clucks so loud it could rival a dragon's roars. Welcome to the chicken coup, a riotous poultry uprising that Shakespeare himself might scripted if he'd ever set foot, or rather, a quill, in this blocky chaos. Here, among towering wheat fields and fenced enclosures made from decidedly unpoetic oak planks, our story takes an unexpected detour into the world's most absurd royal poultry rebellion. At the heart of this clucking tempest stands Sir Clucklessworth, a chicken no taller than 2 blocks high, yet possessing a nobility that no diamond armor could rival. His feathers shimmer with the iridescence of a redstone torch, glowing faintly in the dusky Minecraft twilight, and his beady eyes flash with cunning intelligence. This is no ordinary farmyard fowl. No, Sir Clucklessworth harbors ambitions loftier than a creeper bouncing off a high fence. His goal: to overthrow the kingdom of Craftia, dismantle the oppressive rule of the Iron Golem governor, and establish the first-ever chicken republic. Or, as the latest manifesto, scratched onto a rare book and quill and tossed carelessly into a nearby puddle, declares, "No longer shall chickens be but mere breakfast fare or pixelated nuisances. Our feathered freedom awaits. It's a morning like no other in the sprawling biome of plainer plains." The air, normally filled with the calming hiss of flowing water and distant zombie groans, now rattles with the clamor of an unexpected political rally. Pixelated hens, roosters, and a few rebellious chicks gather behind the ancient oak tree, the one with an oddly Shakespearean-shaped hole in its trunk, perfect for clandestine meetings. From the shadows, Sir Clucklessworth raises his wing as if delivering a TED talk, but in strictly poultry terms. The crowd hushes the only sound, a lone cow mooing, perhaps sarcastically. The speech, though incomprehensible to human ears, vibrates with resolve. Freedom, Sir Clucklessworth's sharp beak squeaks. Existence over submission, extravagance over oppression. The chicken's clucking intensifies into what can only be described as a barnyard rendition of a revolutionary anthem, albeit one that sounds suspiciously like old MacDonald had a plan. Meanwhile, across the plains, atop his obsidian throne carved meticulously from the remains of defeated wither skeletons, the Iron Golem governor broods. His massive blocky fists tap rhythmically against the armrests, each tap a reminder of the order he commands and the chaos he shall suppress. The governor's expressionless face betrays nothing, but subtle cracks in his iron frame hint at a simmering unease. Word of the chicken coup has reached his iron ears, and he finds himself unnervingly distracted by the relentless barrage of feathers and pecks disrupting the rural peace. His advisors, a motley crew of redstone engineers and skeleton strategists, suggest deploying villager mercenaries armed with enchanted hoes. But the governor, in a rare display of contemplative silence, simply mutters soon. They shall taste the cold iron of reality back on the ground. Sir Clucklessworth's rebellion gains momentum with the unexpected aid of a wandering villager named Bardrick, a lanky figure draped in the faded robes of a traveling minstrel, who swears he once performed sonnets for a diamond king. Bardrick is a peculiar ally. He communicates through exaggerated gestures and the occasional tuning of his lute, which produces sounds reminiscent of a creeper hiss mixed with a lute's melody. He serves as the rebellion's chronicler, writing fiery librettos that blend Minecraft vernacular with Shakespearean flourish. His favorite line, scrawled across a multicolored banner flapping above the chicken ranks, reads, "To peck or not to peck, that is the insurrection." Bardrick's presence injects a theatrical flair, turning the coup into an oddly compelling performance art piece, complete with improvised battle cries punctuated by lyrical odes to feathered freedom. The battlefield itself is a chaotic collage of Minecraft oddities. Wheat stalks broken and thrown like javelins, enchanted eggs hurling through the air with sticky potion effects applied, and a makeshift catapult constructed from planks and slime blocks catapulting not rocks, but rubber chickens. Because even in rebellion, absurdity reigns supreme. Amidst these scenes, Sir Clucklessworth directs the tactical mayhem with surprising military acumen. His commands mostly communicated through a series of squawks interpreted by Bardrick's exaggerated translations. At one point, the chickens execute a storming of the village's prized carrot fields, their goal to deprive the iron golem governor's army of vital food supplies, which only adds to the growing embarrassment of the governor, who now faces the unprecedented crisis of hyped-up hens literally eating into his empire. In a peculiarly poetic moment, the sun dips behind the Blocky Mountains as Sir Clucklessworth stands atop a haystack, silhouetted against the pixelated horizon, wings spread wide as if embracing destiny itself. Around him, his loyal flock adjusts their blocky feathers, their expressions a mix of determination and bewildered hope. It's at this climax the narrative slows. The ambient sounds soften to a medieval flute, mingling with the ambient clucks of those signed up for revolution. To the untrained eye, it's just a bunch of chickens scratching around. But for those attuned to the bizarre rhythms of this Minecraft Shakespeare mashup, it's nothing less than destiny cracking wide like an egg. Then, just as the atmosphere thickens with the scent of freshly tilled earth and imminent battle, a sudden eruption of chaos interrupts the scene, an unexpected twist. From the dark forest emerges an enigmatic figure, cloaked not in iron but in cobblestone armor, its face concealed beneath a helmet shaped like a chicken's head. The stranger strides forward with a swagger that only blocky confidence can bestow. Hark! Who dares summon this foul uprising? The figure bellows, voice amplified by an enchanted helmet laced with the echoes of lost villagers. The chickens freeze mid-peck and mid-cluck in collective surprise. Even Bardrick stops strumming. The figure steps into the fiery glow of the setting sun and reveals themselves. Lady Pixelina, self-styled the Avian Queen, a Minecraft vigilante armed with a bow that shoots flaming eggs, and a wit as sharp as a diamond sword. Lady Pixelina proposes an unlikely alliance. She speaks of a prophecy, etched in the ancient scrolls of the End Portal, that foretells the rise of a feathered force so powerful, it could either restore balance or shatter reality itself. Her proposal: unite the chickens and humans in a quest to prevent the unraveling of their pixelated universe. Sir Clucklessworth, feathers bristling with cautious suspicion, exchanges a meaningful glance with Bardrick. The tension is palpable, each side suspicious yet intrigued by the prospect of a grander purpose beyond mere rebellion and governance. As night falls fully, the plains are bathed in the eerie glow of moonlight reflecting off obsidian blocks. The chickens retreat to their barricaded coop, not in defeat, but to plot and ponder this newfound alliance. Somewhere in the distance, the iron golem governor tightens his grip on his enchanted iron scepter, the wheels of his mechanized mind already turning to counter this unexpected twist. The stage is set, eggs are cracked, and the next act in this absurdly poetic saga is about to unfold. The chicken coup, it seems, is far from over. It has only just begun its calculated descent into a Shakespearean farce, where the line between hero and villain blurs like a lava flow becoming obsidian, solid, dangerous, but inevitably part of the same volatile realm. And with that, we pause this feather-fluttering rebellion, perched precariously at the edge of a new chapter, where alliances hatch and realities wobble like a mob spawner in a redstone storm. Because in this Minecraft universe, writ by a bard gone mad with code and creativity, even the smallest chicken may someday hold the fate of pixel reality in its beak. Chaos reigned across the pixelated plains, but nothing quite matched the raucous clamor erupting from the newfound chicken coup. The literal poultry rebellion staged under the cracked, blocky sun of a Minecraft world penned by the bard himself. Here, in this curious universe where Shakespearean verse collided with cubed chaos, our hero and unwitting playwright, the pixelated Will, a skeleton in a rough collar, stood aghast, notebook slamming shut like a trapdoor of fate. For the chicken revolution was no mere feathered uprising, it was an eloquent tragedy of wings, a comedy of clucks, writ too large for the sandbox script. Imagine now the sun glinting off cracked eggshells, the air thick with the scent of hay and something strangely arcane, Like the smell of burnt toast mixed with existential dread. It began, shockingly enough, with a single hen named Lady Cluckworth, her feathers an impossibly vibrant pixel art palette. A grand dame devised by Shakespeare's whimsical brush, complete with a tiny mob cap fashioned from a block of wheat. In a voice deeper than expected from a creature barely a few blocks high, she declaimed, "Oh, what fools these humans be." And the verse echoed like a glitch in the matrix of Minecraft physics. This was no ordinary bird, this was a philosopher queen, a pausing point in the chaos, a conspiring force tipping the narrative upside down. The coup started innocuously. A few missing eggs from villagers' coops, a mysteriously vanished golden apple tucked beneath a pile of dirt blocks. Villagers muttered, usually to themselves, but soon discovered Lady Cluckworth's disciples had begun constructing a barricade, an impossibly ornate wall of hay bales and redstone torches, flickering with a dim light like the flicker of a forgotten sonnet. The wall bore a crude but stirring banner, "No more pecking order," its edges feathered with chicken feathers stolen from the unsuspecting the camera pans, if our story had one, to reveal the villagers, each as blocky and expressive as a Lower's drama queen, their faces contorted in Minecraft-styled horror, wide eyes made of black pixels and mouths shaped like open chests ready to swallow their fears. Villagers armed with wooden swords quivered before the feathered army that now marched with rhythm and a strangely compelling cadence, as though the lines of iambic pentameter pulsed within their hollow clucks. This was no mindless battlefield, it was a theatrical production, with the heads of chickens held high as they ruffled feathers both literal and metaphorical. In the distance, the village elder, a sage NPC named Old Tom, garbed in a robe patched with all the dying dyes of Minecraft's palette, watched with a mixture of bafflement and awe. By the creeper's hiss, he muttered, adjusting his square spectacles, these foul-wheeled words sharper than a diamond sword. Old Tom's voice rippled out over the digital winds, a wry commentary in the mounting absurdity. Meanwhile, Lady Cluckworth, astride a towering golem. Yes, a towering iron golem she had somehow persuaded with a speech of Shakespearean grandeur, rallied her newfound forces. She flapped her pixel wings with the gravitas of Lady Macbeth plotting murder in the halls of Dunsinane. Shall we endure this endless servitude? Nay, let us hatch our destiny. The golem's iron fists pounded the dirt in rhythm, shaking the ground like an impending server lag. The coup was not merely a battle of swords or angry Minecraft fists. No, it was a battle of narratives. Lady Cluckworth enlisted an underappreciated chorus of chickens to declaim scenes of resistance. Their clucks translated into trembling words. A chicken by any other name would peck as sweet. They crowed, blocking paths and inciting other mobs to reconsider their roles in the ecosystem. Creepers sparkled in the background, uncertain whether to join or explode in existential confusion. Pigs wore tiny helmets made of carrots, joining the odd alliance as jesters in the unfolding drama. Yet just as the tide seemed to favor the feathered revolutionaries, the human villagers struck back. Or rather, one singular human with the most peculiar weapon, a book titled Minecraft for Noobs. This tome, glowing faintly with enchanted nonsense, was wielded by a young villager named Tim, who had been quietly rewriting the in-game code with his own script. Tim's vision was simple, yet wildly effective. Rewrite the rules that bound the chicken's rebellion. His fingers clattered over an enchanted keyboard pixel by pixel, inputting commands disguised as eloquent soliloquies, sending lines of code cascading like digital sonnets into the game's core. Suddenly, buildings snapped together and then apart, sheep bleated limericks, and the moon paused mid-ski to observe this unfolding dramaturgy. The chickens found their movements stalling mid-waddle, their rebellion entangled in recursive loops of Shakespearean dialogue, causing temporal hiccups. Lady Cluckworth squawked frustration as her lines repeated endlessly. To peck or not to peck, that is the querie brief and unexpected alliance emerged between Tim and Lady Cluckworth, a human and a chicken united by their mutual love of script, albeit for very different reasons. Together, they concocted an absurd compromise, a daily theater of chaos where chickens performed Shakespearean plays upon the village stage, with villagers as the audience and the occasional unwitting participant in slapstick chicken antics. The villagers, while cautious, found themselves entertained enough to restore some stoic calm to their pixelated lives. Yet beneath this newfound theatrical détente, the real chaos simmered beneath the surface. The Minecraft world was bending, glitches appearing more frequently, chunks of land popping in and out of existence, as though Shakespeare's words had literally broken reality's blocks. The chickens pecked holes in the narrative fabric, and villagers tiptoed through collapsing script lines like actors on a poorly maintained set dot in one oddly poignant scene. A group of chickens solemnly buried a single golden egg beneath a shrine of mossy cobblestone, chanting what sounded like a haphazard sonnet about loss, sacrifice, and the eternal quest for better feed. Nearby, Tim scribbled furiously in his enchanted book, trying to stabilize the ever-fraying story. The wind rustled pixelated leaves, carrying a faint chorus that could be the Minecraft soundtrack, or the distant, melancholic coo of a chicken contemplating its own textual existence as the sun pixel dipped beyond the blocky horizon, painting the sky with gradients of orange and purple squares. The final lines lingered in the digital air. What happens when stories outgrow their tellers and scripts write themselves into paradoxes? The chicken coo had transcended mere rebellion. It had become a meta-commentary on creation, control, and the absurdity of scripted worlds. Shakespeare's ink had cracked the veneer of Minecraft's tidy sandbox, revealing the messy, feathered heart beneath. And so, as Lady Cluckworth mounted her iron golem once more, leading her army in a final flourish of poetic disorder, and Tim readied his keyboard for whatever bug-fueled madness might come next, we are left to wonder. In a universe where chickens rise up and scripts break reality, who truly holds the pen, and who is just part of the story? Or, as the bard might say, all the world's a game, and all the chickens